Hey guys, so I'm coming to you live from Orlando. So I'm visiting family for a month, taking a break off from Peace Corps just to relax and just be home and be with family. But while I'm here, I'm actually going to be fundraising for my school back in Jamaica. The computer program that we run is very under-resourced, to say the least. And we need more computers and chairs for students. And so while I'm here, I'm taking that time to actually fundraise and get the things that we need. And I decided that I needed to do this video because there's a lot of people that need help fundraising and raising money for a cause. They think it's too difficult. They might be uncomfortable asking people for money or asking for any type of in-kind donation. But there's so much work that needs to be done, and I want to make that easier for anybody who is in this type of work, who cares about community development and just helping to be a part of. So I want to give a few tips to help you guys out. So here we go. My first tip is to make sure that you're asking the right people. There's two major things that you need to be looking out for when you decide who you're asking for donations. First, are you asking somebody who has a history, who have demonstrated that they're interested in the cause, in the community, in like people's livelihoods, or they just care about community development overall? Are they a person that regularly gives back to charity? Are they a person that likes to volunteer? You want to look at some of these things, like the person's interests and their hobbies, and whether or not they're on the board of nonprofit organizations, different things like that. Whether or not, if you own an organization, have they given to you in the past? Like, you need to make sure that you're asking the right people, because it doesn't make sense trying to spend time like explaining to someone why something is important, why your cause is important, right? You can explain to them why it's urgent. You can explain to them what exactly their money will do. But if you're trying to convince them that this is a worthy cause, then you're wasting a lot of time. It's better to just ask people who are actually interested, and that you're essentially just presenting them an opportunity. You're not begging them to donate to the cause. And the other thing you want to make sure that the person can actually afford it. That goes without saying, but a lot of people are asking like people who are struggling to pay their bills for like donations, even if it's a small donation. Like, don't waste your time asking people who cannot afford it. And it's also like an ethical thing as well. You want to make sure that people who are giving to you are people that actually have the money to give. So look at some of their indicators of wealth, like the home, their investments, the businesses that they run. Look around and see, okay, does this person have enough money to be able to help? So once the person like checks those boxes, which is one, they are interested in the cause, they have a passion for this type of cause, they have donated before, and two, they can actually afford to give, then you want to make sure that you ask. So don't just go around asking random people who have zero connection. Just ask people who care and can afford it. Another thing that you want to do is to make sure you do all the work for them. Whoever the people are that you're asking to help and assist and to donate, make sure that you do all the work. Leave no questions unanswered. Meaning, if they want to know how many people are benefiting from the project, how many like of something do you need, like exactly how much you're asking for them to give, like make sure you have all those questions answered before. I'll give you an example. I'm working on a water project currently in my community in Jamaica, and the agency that we asked to come and fund the project is a rural water supply limited government agency in Jamaica. So this is what they do. They fund water projects across the island, especially in rural areas. So they were perfect for the project. So upon asking them, I made sure that I wrote up like a full written out proposal, which is standard for most grant agencies, but they in particular didn't exactly need it. But I did it anyway to make sure that when they came, or whenever they responded to me or came to the community, everything that they needed was already on paper. So we already had like the number of persons living in the community, exactly where the water catchment systems were, the number of people that it currently serves, the number of people that were underserved, and like it was just like a full written list of exactly the type of questions that they're going to ask eventually. So you want to make sure that you make the work extremely easy for the donor, because within that project, I submitted that, and by the time they came to do their preliminary assessment, the guy was like, yeah, well, a lot of things are already written down, so we're just coming to look at this, or just to do things that can't be shown on paper. So it was extremely helpful, and it just moves things along in the process. Also makes people feel like they're dealing with someone professional, someone that they know, that they can count on to make their job easier. Now, the last tip that I'm going to give you is to make sure that you follow up very, very often. No, don't spam them. No, don't like follow and stalk them. You should know what is a comfortable level of following up based on the person that you're dealing with. So once you speak with the person and you hear their tone of voice, you read their emails, and you kind of get an understanding of where they're at. If they talk about being super busy, if they talk about like a whole bunch of things that they have to do, like gauge what you need to do in order to stay on top of what you have to get done and what they promised, but also manage that with their time. Most likely, especially if it's a grant agency, an NGO, a government agency who's providing resources, most likely they're going to be busy and you're not the only project that they're working on. A lot of projects can fall off after the person responds to your letter of appeal for a donation, simply because they're busy, they forget about it, it gets lost in their email. So I guess I kind of like a sub tip is to also like make yourself relevant to that person. So try to get as like personal, professional as possible, but like maintain that connection. So you're not just asking for a donation, but you should be actively building a relationship with that person. So that person is not just thinking about the gift, but also like thinking about you and thinking about that relationship that they're building with you. So make sure you follow up. It doesn't always have to be about the project specifically. You can ask them what they're doing. Again, gauge the person. Always pay attention to who you're speaking to, what that person is comfortable with. Like if you try something and it doesn't work, like pull back a little bit and try something else. But always make sure that you're actively keeping in mind what that person is comfortable with, the level of communication, the mode of communication, and yeah, just do what you can to get the donation. Don't just send an email and then forget about it. Respond, like follow up with the person. And like that goes for anything really. Like even with your job, you can apply for a job and then the person's like, oh yeah, we can set up a date sometime next week. And then next week comes and you don't hear from them, and like all these things happen. It doesn't mean that that person's just rude or doesn't want to talk to you or is just going around you. No, the person could just be busy and something came up. So just follow up and just do what you need to, and don't be in your feelings when someone doesn't respond to you initially as you would like. Yeah. So those are my 3 quick tips on how to raise money for the causes that you're passionate about. Like I really want to see people doing more things that are needed in this life. There's so much pressing issues in this world, and I would love if everyone would just dedicate their time and their businesses and their efforts to just do what is needed. And if I can do my part in making that easier for everyone, I will definitely do what I can. So I'm hoping this will be helpful to anybody who's watching this. So yeah, peace out you guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, like, subscribe, do all those great things. Peace out.